this market hardcore, and we've got to respect that. So the money obviously favors to the long side as of the moment, because that's where the real range is really kind of hitting intraday dips to the long side. So just be mindful that even though it kind of looks extended and we're kind of like at resistance on the SPY, we don't have anything on a short-term basis that says the market is going to be reversing, right? So like before you get a big pullback in the market, what you would start to see is a deterioration in the tape on a smaller time frames, like on a 30-minute time frame, a 1-hour time frame. And we haven't really had that minus, like 15, 20-minute pullbacks. And so as of the moment, even though we're overbought, you can stay overbought for months. That's, one thing about like overbought, oversold. Like you can see in the stochastics here, we've been overbought since, April 1st. So we're on like day 30 of being overbought. So that's just the way the nature of the market is. Overbought can get more overbought at some point. It's just, a sign of strength. Hey, Sal. Hey, Timmy. How are you? Let's take a look at the watch list. Wasn't very many good gappers today. Momo is on the list. It's had some news out that, it's closing some app store or some shit. Who knows? But if it can stay under 35, this may have a chance. The red flag on this one would be that, ideally the best gappers are more like XLNX, where they start to curl down pre-market and then they ORB and break the pre-market lows. Those seem to be a lot easier, they move a lot faster, like that opening tick versus, something that's starting to trend back higher. So I would give this, when I first looked at it, I gave it an A minus, but now I'm giving it a B. So we'll have to see how this thing kind of turns back around. I got this VNE on watch too. This is an IPO. It is breaking down its all-time lows here. We have like a bear flag confirmation at 22.50. So any pattern that builds under there, I think, is in play. The issue on this one is, of course, going to be, what's the liquidity like? We haven't traded this one before. I'm not even familiar with it. 95% or 99% stocks that, pop up on our radars. We've usually heard of them or traded them over the last so many years, but this one hasn't. So just be mindful of that. The IPOs are still hot. So, we want to keep a full-blown list of them. Tiger is a nice one here. You've got yourself, an end-of-day push over here that actually ended up being pretty powerful. If you can see here, like it popped about $2. What we'll need to see is it could pop right at the open, but ideally what I want to see to make sure this is not like some type of pump job is, watch that first intraday dip. If I can get this thing close to 1660, 1675, you get that first dip and hold, and then it starts to curl back and goes red to green. I think that'll be, a telltale sign that this thing is ready to start to re-ramp. You had a nice push in volume yesterday, 6.5 million shares in volume. So what we want to see is not really the absolute volume, right? Is there an expansion in volume from previous days in terms of its consolidation? There was, so that's pretty good. This SE is a flat top breakout over here. This is another one that was like, this was a 2017 IPO, but it's still a fairly new issue. This thing is broken over 25. Watch any kind of pullbacks towards that 25 area. It may just come off the gate and ORB, but this stock doesn't usually do that. It tends to like pop up and then round and then go. So just kind of be mindful of the structure of how it moves. Roku's another one. We've got ourselves, a break of resistance over here. We are starting to kind of opening up strong on this one. Roku always works better on dips. Anytime you try to trace get like a little flag on Roku, it seems to run out of steam. But when you get like these opening intraday kind of pullbacks, especially at the open, and then you go red to green, it tends to work really, really well. It's got the liquidity that you need, and it still moves pretty fast, even though it's a higher market cap at $7 billion. It's got the juice on it. I think this one's got a chance to kind of get back into this range, over the next week or two. I guess its earnings are in 8 days. So in the next week or so, I anticipate this thing kind of flooding back into this range. Hopefully, and that'll give us a good daily trader. This JMI had a big pop on Friday. This is not an easy trader, guys. It's got awesome range, but it just has a spread on it, and it frankly is not the easiest trader. If you try to take this thing on like what you think are like these like little flags and stuff like that. It doesn't work. You got to hit this stock because of the spread and the way that it just moves. It's always better on dips and then it goes. You can get, and the pullbacks tend to be bigger than you anticipate. I've had a little bit of trouble. The first couple days we were shredding this thing, and then it became a little bit more difficult to trade. As the volume died out, the liquidity and the spread started to widen. So when you see this thing, you want to always be looking at like intraday supports for this thing to go. But the one thing is like it tends to pull back farther than you think. So like if you're in this thing and it like pulls back like 50 cents, you think like, okay, it's going to round and go for the, round 3 or something like that. It's not going to move like that. It tends to have deeper pullbacks and then look for like 1, 2, 3 patterns and remounts. Like those are the type of patterns that work on it. On deeper pulls, you almost need at least a minimum dollar pullback on this thing before it goes. It did do a flat top breakout into the close, so it's on watch. I don't like chasing this one up on the gap up due to the lack of liquidity. So we'll watch this one for bigger pullbacks. Remember we tried to ORB this thing, like I forgot if it was like Wednesday, Thursday, and it was just so thinned out, and then it just kind of has like a $1 candle dump, and then we're all stuck in it, selling on top of each other's heads. Let this thing pull back and then hit it. You'll have a much easier time trying to get this thing. CGC's got kind of a couple different levels that it's breaking out of. It's got a mini flag pattern it's taking out of, along with its longer term, trend line. I think this one has a chance it can get up into this 52 range over the 52, 53 range over the course of the week if it can hold. This is another one you got to be really, really precise on your entries because it does like to dump and shake out of nowhere. You may think you're like kind of looking at some kind of consolidation and it'll just go bloop and then it pops back up. So watch this one, how it reacts around supports. I try not to chase this one up. We saw this a few days ago when it was trending too. It trended all day, but like none of the breaks of resistance worked. You had to like really keep hitting them on the intraday pullbacks. That's just the nature of some stocks. Some stocks like to break out. Some stocks like to kind of shred back the other way. So just be mindful of how each stock moves, right? Look at it when you're doing your homework. Look at the intraday charts of them. How does this stock move? What does it react to? Is it a breakout stock? Is it a pullback stock? Is it an EMA stock? There's some stocks that just go red to green all the time. Each stock has its own kind of personality and characteristics that you have to watch. And if that, and once you're looking at the tape and the 5-minute chart, when you're going through your stuff, you'll get an idea and like start making mental or physical notes of how each stock moves in and why and when. Some stocks are morning stocks. Some stocks could be more afternoon stocks. Those will be kind of some different things to look at. Mike, let me check out. So that's, the short list for today. Just IPOs, Roku, and CGC is basically it. All right, IPOs, CGC, Momo, and that's it. I got some other ones. Like if you see a big squeeze on Tesla near 250, probably look to short this thing because 250 was a big breakdown level. Beyond that, we don't have really anything else we need to do. It's slow for gappers today. You can see like there was very, very few action on gappers today, so not really much to do. This Verizon could be a swing here, Mike. You got about $1 risk. I'm not like my ideal type of swing because it's more of a range stock than a trend stock. But, you do only have $1 risk on it. Hey, Jan, how are you? EMES. I see. Yeah, you could try to, this might be something you could get a day trade in, coming off this curl over here and you're to get some pre-market action. I would definitely put that around. Zen is nice. This is probably more of a swing look than a day trade look because it's more of a grinder and it doesn't have pure liquidity, but definitely a nice chart. And Zebra is probably another one that doesn't have the liquidity of day trade, but looks like a nice kind of potential swing look. So those are all good ones. A word on pins. When you're on a day 6 of a move, if you chase strength in a stock on a day 6, they never tend to work out as well as you think. When a stock is trending, like you can keep playing it, but you don't want to chase it on strength on a day, anything above a day 3, right? Anything above a day 3, you don't want to be buying on strengths because what will happen is when it shakes out, it'll drop like $1 or $2 like in a candle, and you'll be really, really frustrated, let's say, just because it could drop so fast. So what you have to do on a day three, day 3 or day 4 is like you can only hit that thing if you get like a monster kind of dip and a curl on it, and then you're good. Like, then you can, then you can really shred, how you want, and just let that thing develop. So just be mindful of those things, guys. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day, and good luck to everybody. Let's trade well and, do what we got to do. And remember what I said about pins, right? Those day 3s can be, just really, 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 really tricky when we're going in and trying to shred these things. So just always be mindful of like where you are in the location of a particular type of stock. All right? Let's go do what we do. Be good. Be great.